God. We're in Minnesota. And apparently, love is bland in Minnesota. Guys.
Yeah, they failed to mention that in the old trailer for this season.
We got to salt and pepper this bitch because it's a little bland, you know?
Oh, I can't remember where the last one was. Last season of Love is Blind.
DC,
that's
right.
You're right. That was, a little more fun there.
Yeah, a little more sauce.
We started watching this show the last season of Love is Blind. And like, obsessed. Like,
riveting.
Dude.
As Bachelor watchers, this was like next level evolution of a dating show. Like, holy
smokes.
100%. All the parts I hate about the first part, not hate, I watched The Bachelor, but like that bug me about the beginning of The Bachelor, which is all the BS and the costumes and the like fake faces and like just putting on your best personality. I don't mean to say fake. We all do it when we meet somebody, but like that part, I'm like, get over it. Get me to the
church.
Yeah, get me to the church. And this show, aside from all the like, just the great idea of the format, this show does that. Being allowed to talk to somebody that you can't see, it's almost like taking away that sense heightens all of your other senses. Yeah. They cut out all the bullshit. We've filmed it. We're done. We know who's making it. We know who's going to like have a connection. We're only going to show you those things. That to me, I love it. Yeah. When this show, so I'm rambling, but what I was going to say, the funny part of this show, I like that part. When they get engaged and then move into the apartments together and it becomes like a regular reality show, that's when I'm kind of like,
you lost me.
I'm not lost, but like, can we get back to, I just want to hear you talk to each other forever. Like, that's all I really want to hear. And now you guys are meeting and being weird. So I think this season will be the opposite, though. Like, it'll get good.
I think so, too.
When that. So that was like a 10-minute way of saying that.
Hung up on those extended stay America rooms that they're all in. Like, it's not that. It's like a condo, but for short-term rentals.
Yes.
With all the stupid manufactured art.
The fake succulents.
Yeah, the same light in it. The fake succulents, yeah. I get so hung up on set deck of this show. I don't know why. It's pretty annoying.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because before you get to the extended stay America, this show has the best set deck art department.
Oh God,
ever.
Those pods are
so good.
They're so beautiful. The housing is so beautiful.
They are really massaging you to fall in love.
100%. Like, I've worked in TV for a long time, and I don't know if I've ever seen a set that has so much thought put into it, ever. Like,
it's great. It's a great set.
And then the pod, and I didn't even realize it until the other day. We were watching the pods when they cut from the above shot, the like sky view shot. The two little holes in the ceiling look like eyeballs.
Yeah,
I never realized that. I can never click
the aerial
until
view's
the
cool.
other.
Yeah, for all you sickos that want to peep.
Yeah,
a bunch of peeping Tom.
We're all peepers.
Yeah.
You're a sicko.
Yeah. No, I'm riveted by this show. I remember being like, "Do you hate me? Why did you wait 7 seasons to tell me this show existed?" And you're like, "I didn't know I needed to tell anybody about Love is Blind."
Yeah,
you did.
Well, you're going to feel that way when we get to Love Island. That's a banger.
We tried. We've been through this. We're going to do it because the people love it. And we're here for the people. Power
if
to
the people out there,
I am not
any people are an editor and want to come work for the up-and-coming YouTube channel for free, like, then we'll do some more shows.
Up-and-coming bajillionaires.
Yeah, that, totally. But anywho, let's...
Wait, did you guys not... Do you agree that this was like a slow to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just super vanilla. Like, I always feel bad for all the people that I see like bopping around like the man caves or the lady caves or whatever.
The lady lounge.
Yeah, the lady lounge. And I'm like, there's 4 girls. Never seen them.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
And I always wonder if they know that they're not going to be like, clearly they know that they didn't make it to like the main game, but like to know that like we're not even gonna pop in on you, we're not even gonna get your overhead shot.
Yeah,
like,
you're gonna
they're
get
no one.
snip,
Yeah,
and
they're
make it
on
out.
the list. Like there is so many people on the list of people. Like, so I always just wonder if like the showrunner does a little courtesy call and is like, "Hey, Cassandra."
Unfortunately, due to the
we're
fact
going in a
that
different direction.
we are airing none of your stuff. You did get accidentally captured in a couple shots with Frank and Deb, so
Exactly.
you can tell
we
your
can see
mom
the back of your
will
head.
be on camera. Yeah,
You're having a banner hair day.
Totally.
It doesn't matter if it's Love is Bland or Love is on Fire. I'm always so taken aback by the couple that is in there for 48 hours and the guy's like, I'm coming at you, girl.
Yeah.
I've been looking for you my whole life. You
Yeah.
are the match to everything I need. I love you. Nicole Marie Ensler, will you marry me?
Yeah, Monica and Joe, ultimate Minnesota couple. Like, those two are going to be married forever. They're going to have 7 kids. 5 of them are going to be hockey champions. Like, all day, every day. They're going to live on a lake that freezes over, and then they ice skate in the winter.
Okay, this is what I thought. However, in the coming attractions, they show that he has OCD, and he's never mentioned it to her. I don't think, because they didn't show it in the pods, and they make it sound like it's some
Minnesota
big deal.
love is different, Court. Once you're engaged, you just stick with your man.
Oh, that's very different than LA love.
Yeah, no. It does totally different things.
They're on thick ice, you're on thin ice.
Yeah,
here.
totally. I think they're going to pull through it.
I hope
think
so.
Yeah, I think she's going to be like, that's okay. I got
you. Yeah.
I'm a weirdo too.
Yeah, she seems like,
Yeah.
what's that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just another one of those silly acronyms.
I do
Yeah.
that sometimes. I flip the light.
Oh, babe.
Everyone's done that.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, wait. General thoughts on this? Netflix, save yourself some dough. Fire Nick and Vanessa. You don't need them for literally anything. Like, they're okay at the reunions. They're no Andy Cohen. Far from. They're probably, season 7, season 8? I imagine that their salaries have gone up quite a bit. Find 2 previous cast members and let them host. And it also wouldn't hurt to bring them in throughout the process to have a little sidebar with the contestants here and there. I would love that.
The next couple that we have that gets proposed to engaged are Ben and Sarah, who I personally feel are not going to make it because when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Ben, you are religious, and Sarah is not. And Sarah says she's not, and Ben says he is. Ben goes to church every Sunday. That's religious.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not like, oh, I'm Catholic, but like, I'm a Creaster, Christmas, Easter, put up a tree, whatever.
Yeah.
No, Ben is Stations of the Crossing it. He is religious. And Sarah isn't. You can't, I don't know how that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that happened when she was like, let's talk about politics, which this is the first season they've ever really gotten into politics. And I'm so happy that they did.
last season.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, with the army and the Palestine and like
Not those two, not in the pods.
So much.
Like in the
well, yeah, okay. Well, thank God they're talking about it in the pods and not springing it on her. Like
that's what I'm
in
saying.
the- yeah.
Early on, they're
Yeah.
saying like, let's talk about politics. And Ben's response is, oh, I just don't pay attention to any of it. That's fine if that's how you want to run your life. That's not for me personally. I don't think that's for Sarah either. And he was very sweet and tried to bounce back from it because he obviously really liked this chick. But he came back in saying, well, I'm sure we feel the same way about all this stuff. It's like, how would you even know? You don't even know about any of it. And I just think it's a kind of a kooky thing to not align on. Those are big deals if you are totally checked out socially and politically. And I'm not saying that you have to have the exact same opinions on these topics as your significant other, but I think if this is important for her and for him to actively be checked out of it, I know he came back and said, like, if it's important to you, it's important to me, but I don't know. I don't think they can make it.
Well, that was the weirdest engagement too. It was like the whole time they were like, "Oh, you guys like talking to each other, but there's clearly nothing. There's no longevity here. You guys are so not aligned on so many things that like it's not like yes, religion definitely, but like so many other things that like this is not going to be a thing." And then he's like, "I'm going to marry you." I'm like, wait, what?
Yes.
You got what? And then even for her to be excited about that choice too, I'm like, wait, you know what guy this is, right?
Yeah.
This is the churchy dude. And then, dude, you know what girl this is, right? Like, this is the
protest girl.
non-churchy
Yeah.
protester. Like,
Yeah.
I think you guys are getting confused by who you made the wrong notes or you wrote down the wrong name, something different.
Yeah,
happened.
wire was crossed. And again,
Yeah.
you don't I think it actually would be an incredibly boring relationship if you agreed on everything. But I feel like these are such fundamental things to disagree on that I don't know, like religion is a huge thing.
What I liked about what he said is he said, I'm not religious, I have faith. And how he also said that he has molded his faith into what he wants it to be. And also she said, well, if we can just find a church that's accepting of everyone, Sarah probably feels a responsibility due to her family circumstances.
Her sister being a lesbian.
Exactly. He said the words, he said, I would just like to show you who I am. I just feel like if I could show you who I am and you see me in everyday life, you're going to know that I'm a good person and that like I would go to bat for the things that you would go to bat.
He says that multiple times.
Yeah.
That he's like, I'm going
to show you.
Not even to her. He goes back into the man cave and he's like, I don't know. I'm just, because he's explaining what happened. She asked about this. He's like, I think I might have messed it up. He's like, but I'm just like going to show you who I am. I'm not going to tell you, like, I don't, he was trying to, I think he was a little bit trying to rationalize what just happened.
Right.
He basically was
and
like,
just tell
I don't really think about
who
George
would listen.
Floyd. Like, wait, what, dude? Like,
yeah. I don't know what his actions will be. We shall see. But if all those things hold to be true, and she's also open to going to a church that's a little less
conservative,
not so conservative. Yeah. Like, I just think that the look of love that I feel like I witnessed on this guy's face when she walked out and how excited he was about her, I'm giving this guy the benefit of the doubt. He's not going to get it all right. No one does.
Totally.
But she might get down the road and be like, God, this guy loved me so much. And like, he didn't know every single thing that I wanted him to know. Did I even really know every single thing I thought I knew? Like, this is just an old lady telling someone that's younger than me, like, just keep an open mind and try to hold high the really important things in a lifelong marriage. And it might be a little less about BLM than it is about,
Agreed. But from one old lady to another, I just think life can be hard enough.
Yeah.
And if you're not fundamentally aligned on certain things, like having children or religion or some of these things, I just think, again, I think they both seem like sweet, wonderful people. And I saw that same look of love and whatever. But like I had said a few episodes back, and trust me, I want to be wrong about this. I am the biggest fool for love. I just don't think that love can sustain a long-term monogamous relationship.
Love is enough. It's enough. It is if you want it to be.
I'm with Courtney on this one. Like, I hope that, I'm with Courtney on this couple. And I think the problem is not going to so much be with her, is going to be with him. Like, Ben, being that religious, never foresaw his life being married to a non-Christian woman, right? Like, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
So I think the problem comes more from him saying, like, I can't be with a heathen woman.
When you watch these shows, they're telling, whatever their history is with their family, their last breakup, I was married, the person cheated on me, and they're telling really intimate, sometimes painful stories. And the person on the other side of the wall is like, I will never do that to you. I will listen to you every time you speak. Right? And then as soon as I get in the pods, this MFer's on his phone all day, not paying any attention to her.
You mean get to the plate?
I'm saying once we get out of the pods and into real life, it's one thing to say.
Yeah.
Like my sister used...
This is all going off of like, if we're believing what they're saying, then sky's the limit. If he doesn't come forth with any of that and he's just like, I don't know, man, you need to just over it and because I don't really care about that. Sorry, you do. Good for you. If he's got that attitude, it's over before it started.
I realize with this show, I am the cynic because when I'm watching all of these couples in the pods, I'm feeling almost like a therapist where I'm watching them and listening to them have this conversation. And I'm like, oh, she's not going to be happy with anyone because she's leading with her trauma in every conversation. And that's how she's defining herself. That's how she's defining her life. And that's how she's entering into any relationship. So she will always be at a deficit that no one will ever be able to heal because she has to heal it on her own.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not sitting here hearing her tell her painful story, I'm just talking about anyone, whatever her painful story is, and hearing the guy say back, I love you, I'll be there for you. I'm hearing the other stuff. And I think that that's part of what I'm hearing with Ben and Sarah. Like, I get that he so badly wants to do it, but you're
always coming from that place. And my role is always going to be constant projection of my own life. It just depends on where you're at in life and what your experiences are. I think that's how you decide whether love is enough or not, based on the horrible things that have happened to you in your life or the wonderful things. Like, that's how you decide what love is and what love is worth. That's all. Anyway, I gotta go to bed.
I have a book on love coming out this summer.
Our next couple up is Lauren and David, who I have mooey feelings on.
Good feelings?
No. David thinks he's the Leonardo DiCaprio of Minnesota.
He might be.
Possibly. His opening line with every chick, oh, you're 30, so you're not hot anymore. Or like, oh, right, you're 30, so we better get this conversation going about kids because you're barely able to have them. Like,
what was his real, like for most of them, his real opening line was, what's wrong with, or you're here.
Oh, yeah, what's wrong with
you?
What's it called when you say things off the bat to women that like immediately puts them in like a less confident state? I can't remember, but this is a thing. This is a very modern tact. This is a thing that men are doing all over Los Angeles. I don't know about the rest of the country. I can only speak for Los Angeles. You make jokes that just kind of put it in their minds that they're being physically assessed. And often like that'll trigger a woman to like want to prove you wrong or raise you up because they just immediately feel like lesser than. Like, even if they don't realize it. Anyway, that's what Dave's doing.
Really?
Yeah, you go in and you make those kinds of remarks so that someone immediately feels like you don't find them hot, you don't think they're still childbearing, you don't think that they have a shot with this group of guys, and then they are playing catch up the whole time. It is a mental mind that these dudes are doing. When he keeps talking about his sister, he's giving himself an out now so that when he does decide that this is all boring to him and he's banging this girl 7 ways till Sunday and he's over it, he'll be like, it's just that my sister doesn't like you. And then you're wondering, how do I get in with this sister? Like, your mind leaves the area of like, what do you have that I want? What do you have that I need? To what do I have that he needs? I need to find that. How can I make his sister like me? That Molly even asked, what could I do to make your sister like me? Like,
I completely agree on all of it.
He's
like a little bit of an emotional manipulator.
100%.
But by the way, I did not know this was a thing. I don't know how you know
You've
this. You've
never heard of that before?
No.
But what do you mean? Boys do it in elementary school. That's how you pick on the girl that you like and pull her hair, push her until she's dumb.
Is next
so
level.
She tells you that she likes
This is next level.
It's just an adult version of that. I'm not condoning it by any time. I'm just making a funny
I've
joke.
hooked up with other girls while I'm in a relationship. I work with perfectly nip-tucked women all day, and that's really had an effect on like what I think women should look like. Oh, you're 30, so you're obviously not attractive. My mom's gone, and all I have is my sister, and she's not gonna like you.
I don't like this dude, but he did from the jump say, "Listen, I'm just shallow piece of shit. I got some problems. I realized that my mom said don't be that, and I am, and now I'm." This is part of the reason why I came here is to like get a look at myself. And I don't know if that's real, but he did say it. And he did seem to have the only arc in the entire 6 episodes was this dude, in my opinion.
More arc because this guy was everything he did somehow annoyed me. I couldn't get on the right side with him.
Oh no, he was gnarly. You had a moment with him because he did like just the story of like living like your mother has breast cancer but like lasts for 10.5 years, and she also says to him, you need to have more integrity. Your mom saying that to you?
Did she say more, or you need to live with integrity?
Like
I don't know
to
live with integrity.
Yeah, I don't know if it was
she
reprimand.
I think
it
heard
was
it the way
a
I wanted
life
to
lesson.
then. I was thinking like, Jesus, you just told your kid that? Like, if, like my dad has said will tell all of us things like, like general life lessons or whatever. It's all about your character. Your character is everything. Like my dad has been saying that from the get, never pointed it at me though. For some reason, I heard the way that I heard him talking, I thought that she was saying, you need to get some integrity. And that I was like, you must be a real son of a bitch if your mom, your dying mother is telling you. Yeah.
Shape up or ship out.
Yeah.
He gives super son of a bitch vibes, but I do think he was the only one that started like, yeah, I'm an asshole. I don't have any integrity. It's a problem. I've acknowledged that. What are you here for? What are your problems? Why are you fat? But then towards the middle and the end, I was like, okay, this dude is... something's happening. He's changing.
I will leave space for him to surprise me. I don't think he's going to, if I was just betting on this. I thought it was wild how everything in his life is a stereotype. Even when she says, I'm a teacher, he's like, oh, well, I wouldn't normally go for a teacher because they're just nerds. And it's like, well, not all teachers are nerds, but, they're nerdy. And it's like, first of all, my teachers were very cool people. Like a science teacher that has to teach the same curriculum every year, they're coming up with stuff. But even if that wasn't your experience of a teacher, maybe I'm a nerd. I am actually a nerd, not maybe. The hits just kept on coming with him. And I also think he was so far better suited for Molly and Molly for him.
Yeah.
That he is going to be bored with, not because Lauren's boring, not because she's a nerd. This is just my guess. She's in one lane, he's in another, going the complete opposite direction. And they are going to get frustrated with one another. I think he will get bored with her. And I just think Molly was the right pick for him.
Was Molly the nose
redhead?
Rings? Oh, okay. Molly was the redhead.
They just seemed to have a banter that was like a bit more organic and flowing.
They totally did. Like, unless he truly does want to evolve and have a real emotional connection and do the work, then she was it. But if Dave's just going to stay Dave, I think Molly would be the ultimate path of least resistance. He could totally be himself, and she wouldn't sweat him. I don't know how long a relationship would last between Dave and Molly. I also don't know how long Dave would be able to maintain any relationship. So, like, the longevity factor isn't as much as my concern as like, well, at least he'll have a good time while it lasts. If that might be something that you picked up on when you're like, this guy is kind of like, there's something here.
Yeah.
So I think the desire is there. I don't know how good he'll be at it. But Molly would have just been like, the fact that when he said, I did cheat on someone, I'll never do that again. And she's like, I was actually in that situation. I was the girl that he cheated with. Like, there is something about that level of understanding between two people. And I'm not saying I'm not saying anyone should be cool with this, but like, he might be made to feel all the time like he's a bad guy and he's the douchebag, and like, because he has been. I feel like Lauren's going to have an issue of kind of ragging on him a lot and telling him how to live. And it's also not her job to teach him.
Totally.
He'll probably become a little bit better because of her, but at the end of the day, he should have stuck with Molly. I also think she kind of manipulated that situation. So
100%.
I think that he's going to look back at this and be like, I was picking Molly, and then you bamboo, like you mind me, and then so
I totally agree. I also think that Lauren is a little bit too insecure to be with a guy like 100%. Dave.
Yeah, for sure.
Because she had said a lot of things, but he was like, this is why I say love is bland this season, at least so far, because he's like, I also have a sex playlist. And I'm like, who doesn't? Spotify literally has 8,500 playlists entitled sex playlists. This is not a new or novel idea.
Do they really?
Yes.
Spotify has a jillion.
Sexy.
They have it for everything. But they've got
same
sex
thing.
Playlists.
Yeah.
So downloading that later.
So break out the cuddle candies. But so Lauren had said, she was like, you'll just have to make a new one for your wife. And I'm thinking to myself, listen, there's only so many bangers, pun intended.
Yeah, literally.
Who cares? Like,
I know. She's not going to be a good time. And I'm sure you'll be a good time for someone else, not this guy.
It also drove me nuts when he's like, this from the guy who has judged admittedly judged every woman that he has dated or wanted to go on a date with by how they looked. Okay. He wouldn't even go on a date with them to know if they had a good personality unless they fit some standard of beauty that he deems worthy to go out to dateable. But he finds it gross if a woman wants a big ring, a big engagement ring, like a big diamond.
I forgot about that.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
A woman has to contort herself into whatever visual is the trend this year.
And whatever pretzel move to get you off.
And you think, I got news for you, Dave. Okay? You think because she wants a 4-carat diamond ring or whatever she wants, that's a gross quality?
Yeah, he's...
No.
And then when he does meet her and he says to her, I mean, we have a ways to go. Lot to happen before that. Like he's setting it all. He's giving himself that out whenever he can. And I would do the same thing. So I recognize it just to be like, I don't want to hurt this person. I don't know what's going to happen here. So I might say something like that, but like it wouldn't be because it wouldn't be for his reasons.
Plant the seeds early.
Yeah.
Do you think that, Mike, that they're not going to last?
100%.
Okay.
I only think one of these couples is going to last. Or sorry, two. I think 2 of them are going to last.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we got at least one in here. Okay, our next couple that made it through is Virginia and it's the guy. I'm sorry, you might have to cut this out because I feel like I sound like an awful human being this episode. But Devin, the man who had an ibuprofen addiction.
Yeah, this one wouldn't stop with it.
Is that even a thing?
Bullied him all day.
Well, like, okay, there is the option that like it wasn't ibuprofen. He just didn't want to scare America with his oxy problem.
Okay,
you know, like there is that. But that's all I kept saying was just like, so you took a bunch of Advil? Like, who gives a shit? Like, haven't we all taken a bunch of Advil when like we have to work and like we don't have a choice but to go and you have a throbbing migraine and you're taking...
Is this an intervention from
also,
Natalie?
It should be.
No, this is my actual question because I respect the sobriety cause. I think it is such an amazing thing that if you realize like, oh my God, I suffer from this disease. I want to get sober. Of course, I'm genuinely asking America, is there such a thing as an ibuprofen addiction, and can it... I obviously taking too much of any medication can...
Yeah, no, the only thing I ever think about is how it hurts your kidneys. I know that there's prescription grade ibuprofen, but like I've had those for my wisdom teeth and like I had to go back and be like, I need the Vicodin, lady.
Yes.
Like I can't take the like naproxen or
Don't
like
give me
whatever
this
the hell.
Tic Tac. I need something for the pain, lady.
Totally. And
Druggies.
so I don't...
If
I
it
don't
was
know about
addictive in nature and you could get high off of it, it would be locked at drugstores, right?
Yeah,
Or like at
yeah,
CVS,
yeah.
I think. Because I had to go get, when I was sick the other week, I had to get something. I can't remember what it was. And I'm like, I think it was like Dayquil. I'm like, this is behind bars? And
You
like,
can party on Dayquil.
I had no idea.
Oh,
What is it? It's like
something.
Sizzy or Rizzy or Scissor.
No, scissor. That Lil Wayne always has
Scissor.
it.
Yeah, I think maybe it's an
I
ingredient.
wonder
in
if he's
Scissor.
still drinking that scissor. Sipping on some scissor.
Anyway.
Sipping on some... What, you don't like Lil Wayne?
These two, I don't. He was... Can we talk about Brittany for a minute?
Yeah.
Wait.
Her name's Brittany, right?
Yeah.
Or is it Brittany?
Well, she said Brittany. I think she just doesn't want to be called Brittany.
Is that the
okay.
first girl that he was hanging out with? The basketball
Yeah,
Yes.
the
player?
basketball coach.
I liked her.
I liked her too,
liked her
but
too.
don't we think maybe she might be fully bisexual and just scared to actually say it?
Maybe. But
Oh.
also, like, sorry, go ahead, Mike. I've been bogarting this whole show.
Yeah,
No, same.
really. I don't know. I mean, like she didn't technically say, "Oh, I'm bisexual," but like she kind of did. I don't think she was nervous to admit it. And I think at the end when she broke it off, that was kind of her being like, "I think I got some shit to figure out."
I
a
loved
little
it.
bit,
I thought
yeah.
she was amazing. I liked her from jump. I thought she left in a great way. The reason I say nervous to admit it is because she says like her family wasn't really accepting of it, and she couldn't just like. Whenever I'm nervous to say something, I talk around it. I won't just say like, I'm upset with you. You hurt my feelings. I will say, you know, if we can maybe talk about what happened, because it just, you know, I got sad after that instead of just saying like, you hurt my feelings. And I noticed that she was again, therapist Courtney, my armchair expert take on this is that she was talking around all of it. And she couldn't just say, oh, just so you know, I'm a bisexual woman. And she kept making light of it. Like, I know I'm never going to end up with a woman. And by the way, like, it's okay. If you do or you don't, who cares? It's okay. I just felt like she wasn't maybe secure in talking about it.
Yeah, definitely.
And he did judge her.
Oh, 100%. Well, listen, he did, but I think he was also like, stop doing that. Stop doing that. Like, he didn't feel good about it.
No,
You know?
he's a sweet
it
guy.
It just was like a natural reaction for him. And he's churchy, you know, whatever. But I think that I got the vibe that she was, I think if she would have been like, listen, I would like to be in an open relationship with my husband. I want to be married. I want to be married to a man, but I also maybe want it to be an open relationship. I felt like that's the thing that she was not saying.
Oh, God, I didn't get that at all. That's an interesting take. You thought she wanted to be in an open relationship.
Well, I think she does.
Okay.
I'll put it that way. I don't think she
might not know.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think she does just want that.
Now, with Devin and Virginia, right? That's her name? His
one you
fiance?
picked, or the basketball player?
No.
Yeah,
Virginia and Devin. Do you think they're going to make it?
100%.
I know. I kind of think they are too.
I think that Devin 1000% made the right choice, but I do feel like he was going to choose Brittany. Like, I think that was his person.
Until she said, yeah, she likes to party.
I'm just going to assume that like it wasn't ibuprofen that he was addicted to. I think it might have been something more. Whatever. I don't know. But if I had to guess, I would lean towards that. And if his sobriety or his dark time in his life led him to more faith, and so now he's like really relying on, as many addicts do, they get in the program and like that's just like they don't really around with gray areas, and that would have been a mega gray area for him to have to deal with. I also think, and this is total just like me coming up with things like scenarios that could take place. She is an athlete. He doesn't know what she looks like. There's many women basketball players that are super femme. Just because you're an athlete doesn't mean that you're not
a tomboy.
Still like, yeah, exactly. You know that this other girl, Virginia, she was a dancer for the NBA. So you already know what this girl probably looks like, probably what her figure, her form is, and her mannerisms. Like that's all very girly things. That's fitness. That's like all those things. And she also has a very demure voice and was just like had that whole. So we know exactly who she is by those conversations. He seemed like he was willing to take a risk and go, but Brittany, but I love a baller. I think we could build this life. What if we both were coaches? What if we both like, started these programs for kids and whatever? I think all those things like made him willing to take that risk. Add that she's been with women into that. And now you're like, she's an athlete. She's an ex-athlete, now a coach. She like a PE teacher kind of coach? Like, is she more on the masculine side? Like, is this an open door for a possible three-way with two lipstick lesbians? Or is this like, I'm married, does she have short hair and she's really tall, bigger than me? Like, I don't know. He did not give any vibes that like that could be the case, but I'm really just putting myself in that position and being like, we've got three sort of things that are going towards that. Like, what does this woman look like?
Well, and she did make that comment. She goes, my mom didn't want me to play basketball because she saw a lot of professional female basketball players dressed more masculine than they did feminine. Yeah. Which is also why I thought she maybe was struggling to just come out and say, I'm bisexual.
Right. Yeah.
And but also like just to your point, talking about like, you could be anything. You could be a lawyer and a female lawyer and dress more masculine than you do feminine, but she was talking a lot about things that could make
just was him, put it like if you're having to take a guess,
right?
There's more checks in the boxes that might point to someone that's looks a certain way than doesn't.
An NBA dancer is
exactly
9 times out of 10. What that look is, not because of anything other than stereotypes are real.
Yeah. And like if all you have to go off of in there is just like, what's the likelier scenario here? So I'm not saying that he's that shallow. He didn't give off any reason for me to think that, but I'm just being a realistic American here and like wondering like in a guy's mind when he's making this kind of a decision in a blind scenario, he might have been like, this other woman just sounds like she's gonna be more
physically my type,
and this is a more traditional relationship, and I don't think it would have been wise for him to get involved with someone that he never really knew for sure if like what she was.
Is it you had a girlfriend and it was a beautiful experience for you and you are totally resolute that you now only want to be with men, or you are resolute that you're bisexual, but you want to be in a monogamous relationship with me right now? Or is it something that you still want to explore because it was so great and you didn't get to the end of that rope to see like, oh, is this actually just maybe who I am?
So somebody that told me that they hooked up with their college roommate, I wouldn't think twice if they said, but I'm marrying a dude. Like I'd be like, oh yeah, that was just a thing that happened. The fact that she's been in multiple relationships
and it's not
the way that it ended with her wording towards the end, just kind of being like, I think kind of insinuating that maybe there are some things I need to figure out.
And it also wasn't like an experimental phase in college.
Yeah,
it was her as a grown
just
adult.
Recently, yeah.
Yeah, it was her last, I think she said it was her last relationship. So to me, that lends itself to thinking that she's not fully landed on, you know, all of the avenues in her sexual, you know.
So
life.
I think they definitely made the right choice this way. Yeah.
I love this first part of the show so much. I don't know if I have a more intriguing show that I watch. These two people in the pod, like it just, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with watching people talk and not knowing who they're talking to. But then the meetings are always so freaking awkward to me. Like almost every time they're so awkward and I don't know why.
Because you have this, you know how like or at least I do, I always joke like these one-way relationships with these people on these shows that we talk about. And in a sense, you have this not one-way relationship with the person on the other side of the pod, but kind of. You've gone to bed every night with thinking about them in one way. This is how they're going to look. This is how they're going to touch me. This is how our kids are going to be. This is the house we're going to be moving into. And when you meet them, there's just no way that you can be 100% accurate as to who that person's going to be. And I think it's almost like, have you ever gotten off a treadmill and you're running, and then you get on a ground that's not moving and you're like, whoa, okay, like gotta catch up with, okay, you've never been
Do I look like someone who's been on a treadmill, Courtney?
Okay, well, when you get off the treadmill, there is that moment of just kind of, oh, okay, this is different than what I've been doing.
The moving escalator, like the walking escalator at the airport, that one.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
you get off that.
and
There's like a little
balance,
recalibration that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so awkward because now you're in front of this person that I think 50% of the time, if not more, someone gets to that hotel suite in Cabo or wherever they are in Mexico, and they're like, oh my God, I have to share a bed with someone for a week that I am not sexually attracted to at all. And maybe he's attracted to me, maybe she's attracted to him, but I think so much of the time there's a physical miss. And I think that adds to the awkwardness, plus what you've been building up in your mind and heart about this person from the pods. Yeah. And that's a recipe for awkward.
Even the first two. Tarzan and Jane.
Totally.
Like they were so giddy and so in love. And so I was like, oh, you guys did it. You guys love it. Like, you're totally happy.
Just put a priest there when
like
they meet.
Do it now.
I don't think that they'll have that issue that we're talking about. If there's one couple that won't, I think that they took one look at each other like, yeah, duh.
Yeah, totally.
Annie Herman.
But it was still awkward though. Like
totally
cute awkward, but still like, okay, stop jumping around, lady. Just calm down.
It's going to be mega awkward at any time, and also very off-putting to have to deal with the physical form of anyone that you've never seen in your life before. Those people, awkward is awkward, but that was the least awkward. Like that was excitement. That was an awkward excitement from two dorks.
Yeah.
You know? Like she couldn't even get to, like they couldn't even get there. Like, oh my God, I'm so excited! I can't. My legs aren't even moving. Oh my God! Like everything was just like she could not stop being like she was doing like wrestling stances all the way down.
But
like, yes.
I wish I wore a skirt. I can't kick high enough. Yeah, she is
They
cute.
gave me this stupid dress. I told them this isn't me.
I'm more of an athleisure chick.
I can't skate in this dress.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're funny. But and I also think there's something to it, just as you guys are talking, like there's got to be something awkward about knowing someone.
Yeah.
And then meeting like they're a stranger, but you also know them. You know them so much. You said you were in love with them. You got down on one knee and proposed to them.
And you said yes.
And they said yes. So like you were both having mad feelings for each other. And now you're like realizing, wait, I don't know. This like that's gotta just be such a mind.
No, I know.
And it's the only part of the show that I'm like, this is weird. I wish they could figure out a different way to do that.
Okay, Taylor and Daniel. They're the ones where she thinks he was following her on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think, let's just cut to the chase because I can't bury the lead on this. Do you think he followed her, unfollowed her, and did all the things that she's thinking? You do?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Just the way he responded or the way he reacted when she confronted him about it, it was super weird. It was unprepared. It wasn't consoling. It was a total like, oh shit, I just got caught. Stay quiet and I can get out of this.
I think I would disagree with you and just play the side of maybe he was just totally shocked and taken off guard because here he is in this bubble and in love with her. If it hadn't been for them talking about Instagram handles and, oh, would I know you? What's your handle? I don't forget a handle. Mm-hmm. That's a very weird thing to say to someone. I forget everyone's. I don't know anyone's handle.
Yeah, and he was the one that was like, oh, I wonder if we've ever crossed paths. So yeah, I 100% think it.
Like, listen, I can only go off of his response, and it seemed like he was either a deer in headlights because he's like, wait, what? Like, is this serious? Is this real? Is this? Oh, those producers that came and got me this morning, like he could be how Rose was when, in The Bachelor, when he starts confronting her about something and she's literally like, did I say this is happening right now? Oh God, am I going home? Like I feel like the look on his face could show all of that like just being so far out of did not expect this. And am I about to go home? Are these people here right now to put me in the SUV and send me back to the airport? Is my suitcase? How'd my suitcase get here? Who brought my suitcase here? Or he could have been trying to figure out how he could lie in that moment about it when he knows damn good and well that they've got mutual friends and it's only a matter of time before that guy goes, no, I do know him. And yeah, we did talk about you. That night we were out for Sarah's birthday, or not Sarah, isn't her name Sarah? That's a different, whoever's, whatever. Just that he could be thinking about how much of a lie could I get away with. So I don't know, but I want to know if you guys though, just say that he did know. Say that however long ago he adds this girl and finds out she is coming on the show, like the timing of it, I don't know. Just to say, I need to unfollow her. I should unfollow, right? Is that going to be weird? I bet you shouldn't even notice. I don't know how many followers she has. I don't know if she's like a big social media person, but like maybe thinking like, if you ever like leave a comment on accident, and you're like, please God, tell me that this person isn't like a type that has notifications switched on.
Yeah.
Like you just pray like, oh, they have a lot of people. I'm sure it's like when you get the comments emailed to you, like
we're still small enough to enjoy it and like respond, but like
any minute it's like I'm gonna miss an email from my boss at a certain point because like I can't do this. So I'm wondering if like there's just a possibility that it was completely innocent and he just like made the move to do that. And then once you know this girl and you're friends of a friend, your friend tells you, oh, she's so cool, she's great, she's actually single. And then like, I don't know, like this is a big jump because it would have to be a really big coincidence for this all to happen. I don't know how small this town is and whatever, but like, what do you do in that instant?
Miniature popping.
What do you do in that instance? Do you say, I might disqualify myself right now if I say
from a once in a lifetime,
from that experience that like somebody just happened. It was a thing you overheard at a bar or a friend that said something and like, which makes me question how this whole thing works. I feel like you should have to sign a non-disclosure the second that they get you on the show. Like, are they allowed to tell their friends? Like the one girl said, oh, my whole family thinks I'm at a spiritual retreat. That's what Virginia said.
But I think it's because her family wouldn't condone what she was doing.
Right. Yeah. So like, but that leaves the question of like, what are the rules of this? Like how are you allowed to tell your friends that you're going on this show, or is it because like this whole thing is taped like a year ago.
I would
and like
imagine.
we've already talked about this, I think, last season, where it was like, this show's been over since 9 months. They stayed inside and weren't photographed. Like, that's a lot to ask of like a new couple that's trying to get to know each other, and their families are trying to there's a wedding. Oh, I'm sorry. They're married. The ones that are married, like what are they supposed to do? So it just opens up the question, what should he have done? What, after seeing her, to no fault of his own, if this is the case, it's a wild ride, but you can't unsee it. And they do seem like they like each other and have some shit in common.
Totally.
And like, so do you just go, oh, I don't want to break the rules, or I don't know what to do about this, and then you just do you forfeit that and forfeit possibly finding your greatest love? It's a lot.
I was thinking about this also. Like, it could have been a totally innocuous thing where they live in the same, whatever, swim in the same ponds, don't live in the same town, but close enough, right?
Yeah.
That, oh my God, she's cute. Follow, maybe slide into her DMs at some point. Like, this is all very plausible. I think, and I wasn't thinking this, but a friend of mine brought this up to me when I was talking to them about the show. And she goes, she kept the height thing, kind of seemed like it might have been a thing for her. And it could have been a seed planting, like how you were saying with one of these other couples, where as soon as she came out, she had said something about height. Yeah. And then maybe she got back to the
extended
stay America.
The renovated Marriott.
Yes, she got back to her Marriott, and she was like, oh, like, I'm not attracted to, because I will be honest, if I were in her, I'm 5'11". If I was on this show and all of a sudden the doors opened up and there was a guy who was 5'8" on the other side of it, I would know instantly that it wouldn't work. Yeah. Because I am 43 years old and I know myself. And yes, of course you could be surprised, but like, she might have had that moment of like, oh crap. And then maybe she was putting the pieces together, and maybe it wouldn't have bothered her if she was sexually attracted to him, but maybe she was just trying to make something.
Find an out. Yeah. Give herself an out. If she really enjoyed their conversations, thought this was a great match, was excited to move forward, meets him and he's gorgeous and like, it's a great match. You're disregarding that real quick.
And they kept making talk about foreshadowing. They kept making a thing about the height. So I went back to watch, because there was just so much information, and we watched it in such like a quick period of time so we could be able to film. This is what we do for you guys. Yeah.
Watch all this TV and stuff. Jeez.
In the first episode, Daniel says, he's like, it's short king season. And he says, my issue has been like, a lot of women have feelings about the height of the guy that they date. And then right before they open the doors for her to see him, she says, oh, well, we're assuming the producer asks her about like, well, what if he's short? And she goes, great, one more excuse to not have to wear heels. They bring it up again. Yeah. And I just think it has to play some kind of a part in what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought those two had the realest, sweetest connection. And then when they met, I was like, yes, this seems like a normal meeting of two people who really fell in love and nothing else matters and love is enough and blah, blah, blah. Or they're both happy with the way they look. Like I thought like that was the most natural process of all the couples. And then this one was like, oh no, she doesn't like him. I'm like, what are you talking about? She loves him. And then like I didn't see it. And then when the doors closed and she kind of sat down and took a thing and like they just did the longing, I was like, oh shit. Now he was like, look, she's not into him. And then I thought, yeah, no, I see what you see now. Yes, the short thing came up because he made it a thing. It's a thing for him. So, of course, the producers are going to ask her about it, right? But I think that...
But they kept it in episode 1.
Yeah, but I think they kept it in episode 1 probably because that was an early thing. But, like, once she saw him, like, in hindsight, going back and thinking about it, and, like, I think she was like, I know this dude. I've seen this dude. Who is this guy? Like she said, once the doors closed and she had time to figure it out, she was like, oh, wait a minute. this dude followed me on Insta, and then it just kind of spun her a little bit.
Let's just say he is telling the truth about the fact that I don't have a picture of me in front of a tree with a drink or whatever. It's an amalgamation at this point for her because he clearly had a lot of holiday pictures up on his feed. And so we don't remember things as they happen. We remember them as we perceive they happened.
Yeah.
And so I think she had enough of the photo correct in her head. Like it was a specific thing that she remembered.
Yeah.
And she had enough of the details there for me to be like, oh, shit, I think she's right.
Well,
I think he followed her.
So two things. One, like, I don't understand why production can't go back and look at his Instagram and be like, oh, look, here's the picture, boot, and put it up there. So the fact that they didn't makes me be like, well, maybe they don't want to go outside
They never get
world.
involved with the social media stuff. They like the drama of it. They don't want to get involved.
So maybe it's that, or maybe it's not a thing and it's a figment of her imagination. Or another dude that looked like him slid into her Instagrams.
By the way, I'm not saying it's a figment of her imagination. I'm saying you could swear up, down, and center when you met Natalie, she was wearing a blue
I know
t-shirt.
What you're saying.
And she was wearing a t-shirt. It just wasn't blue.
Totally.
Do we want to talk at all about any of the honorable mentions that we think are going to come back?
We haven't talked about Madison and any like.
That's what I'm saying. Like we hit Molly, but should we talk about Madison?
I don't think that they're an honorable mention. I think that they are like they were the most interesting story to me of the whole thing.
Totally.
So like I know that they're not there anymore, but if those producers don't figure out a way to get her back somehow. Or like at least elongate that one party where they all do come back and meet each other and do a 2-episode banger. Like I think that they had got to have been really bummed that didn't work out. Like if they did not see that coming, those people were probably like these 5 or 4 characters are like some of our top billing.
Meg, Molly, and Madison were the most interesting chicks.
Yeah.
Brittany, but she had a good run and she'll come back.
Yeah.
Those 4 women had the most interesting runs, at least that we saw, and none of their relationships panned out.
That's a huge bummer. That's like sending Chloe and Bailey and whatever her name was home in one rip. Yeah. Like,
From the batch.
On. That's why I think that like if they could get ahead of this next time by bringing in like old cast members that have already gone through this and like being a little bit more involved in like the pod process, like not Chris Harrison coming in every 5 seconds and being like, how to go, tell me everything. Like not like that, but like this could have been avoided had there been someone in there to talk about, well, you've got these 2 people. Like, tell me why you think that. I don't know. I just think there's some troubleshooting to be done to avoid this because they lost their best
stars.
People.
Can I just give an overarching note for what really annoys me when I'm watching everyone in the pods?
Yeah.
Do you want to know what I'm wearing? Just kidding. Own it. If you want to be sexy and say, oh, I bet you're really hot. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Or, oh, so what's wrong with you? Just kidding. You're not kidding. You're saying what's wrong with you that you are in these pods. You're trying to be sexy and camouflage it. Like when Meg came in and she was like, oh, I kind of want to call you daddy. Just kidding. No, you're not. Because then when he asked you what you wanted to be called, your answer was baby girl.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty clear dynamic of daddy and baby girl.
Yeah.
And that's what you're into. That's your kink. I have no judgment on it. Just own it. They all did this. They all said so much stuff, a lot of it revolving around sexual stuff, and then had to laugh and say, just kidding. And it's like, you can be sexual. You're talking to this person to potentially marry them. You have to talk about these things. What are you going to be like, hey, do you want to have sex? Just kidding.
Yeah.
You have to talk about these things. And they all did it so much. Even Madison, who was the most sexually open or aggressive of all of them, with one of the guys, Alex, she was kind of talking about it, but with the other guy, she's like, do you want to know something about my nipples? They're pierced.
Well, the timing of that was very interesting too.
Because the other guy was the cinematographer and he's super pervy, and Alex got shoved in a locker. He didn't even know what was happening.
But Alex kept saying every time she would bring something up, and she's like, I have this trauma. And Alex is like, whoa, I don't know if I can handle that. And she's like, I feel like you're judging me and you're saying you can't handle me. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. Like when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Alex and her would not have made it.
Madison is a psychological ninja. I can't remember all the specifics of her childhood story aside from like lots of drug abuse with her parents, but it just feels like she's just the absolute product of that. When you're a survivor of like some level of child abuse, you have lots of learned behaviors that help you survive every day. You manipulate, you calculate, just like how to get safely from A to B. And I imagine that would take loads of work and just years and years of therapy to totally unlearn these strategies. If you ever unlearn them, like it would be hard to not use what's kind of always been your superpower. I'm glad that she learned those things. I'm sure it helped her out greatly getting
Survival.
through her entire childhood. Yeah, but it's going to be a real show for her significant other to not have to be dealing with those things. It would have to be a real special person who I kind of thought that Alex had it in him to be, considering that he had a pretty traumatic childhood himself.
I don't think he could have ever kept up with her because she's so, and there is zero judgment about this because I'm a very sexual person. Like she is very sexual in nature. And I was looking at her Instagram feed earlier and picture after picture is thirst trap after thirst trap. And I just don't think he's comfortable in that space because every time she would mention anything outside of his wheelhouse, whether it was sexual in nature or her trauma from her childhood, he was like a little kid that was like, whoa, I can't handle this. I shouldn't be going into this R-rated movie. Or like, I shouldn't be in this math class because I'm not ready for algebra. And he would verbalize it to her, but and I think this is one of her survival techniques that she learned over the years. I think she would then try to say like, oh, well, I feel like you're judging me, or I feel like you're not, like now that I just opened up to you and gave you my soft underbelly, like you're rejecting me to make him feel bad. And then he's like, no, I just want to be honest about that seems like a lot. And I don't know if I'm equipped to be your person. If that's what, like, if you have not anxious attachment, anxious detachment style, I think she said, or avoidant. Thank you, is what she has. And she's like, oh no, but it's, and then starting to make light of it, but it's fine. And, you know, I've learned how to deal with it and how to work with it within the confines of a relationship. And it was just such mixed messaging that I think it would have eventually crushed him because she just has like a lot that still I think needs to be healed. Rightfully so. Her childhood sounds beyond traumatic.
Yeah. He has every right to recognize all those things and veer away. There was just things about him, like when she called it off with Mason and came in the pod, to her, that was like, I just cleared my roster. I just cleared up my schedule to start a brand new life with you. And like, that wasn't lost on him. He knew what she was doing and he didn't discourage that. He picked her as much as she picked him. I don't remember if he dated anyone else.
He had one other person.
Who was his other person?
Wasn't he messing with Meg for a little while?
I think it was Meg.
Oh, was it?
I think so.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even realize that.
If it wasn't Meg, he definitely had another person because I remember she's like, tell me who your second was. And he's like, no, I don't have a second. I have a girlfriend now. And he was joking because he did have a second person in the mix.
The way that he let that whole thing happen. And then I also think back to like, and I know you think you have a different take on this, but the way that he knew that it was Mason, he got it out of her who it was. She told him. And then he goes back into the man cave and is like, fully knowing I'm the other guy and she's going to leave you. He still insisted on inserting himself, going off to the side with him, encouraging him, being excited for him, high-fiving him. That's so great. Full knowing like she's going to dump you. Like, and knowing that he had a second person, he had no respect for the fact that Mason still had a second person that like could be an option for him, and that Madison still had a second person that could be an option for her. And like, it was just like this kid, like watching this thing that was like about to explode. And like, it just was such a trip to me to look back at. I know like I'm like a natural born conspirator, but like I couldn't, like so many actions from this kid just like made me go to a dark place with him of like kind of worst case scenarios. To act that way to that guy and then to not have any respect for their other significant people. And then he lets it all go down and then breaks up with her. like almost immediately, like brings up this scenario. How she got out of it is how she got out of it with Mason. It doesn't like, this is only good news for you, man.
Yeah.
Like this is the beginning, the first day of the rest of your lives. And like, you're then going to like, be like, but I can see where Mason was. I guess I'm just very understanding. I don't think he meant to, like, no one asked you, dude. Like, you're acting like a referee that no one hired for a game that already happened. Like, you got scared. You wanted out. And you figured out a way to be like, well, I guess we can't do this then because of the way that you're reacting right now. If you're so dialed in on this person's trauma and the avoidance and the attachments and the blah, blah, like how you've presented yourself to be, clearly you know about all these things. You don't walk in there to a girl that's had to be on her own her entire life and immediately go, I can see both sides of this. Again, she never asked you. Like you kind of brought it up and got the conversation going just so you could shut her down and make her feel like she's on an island by herself. I think it was so obvious that he premeditated this whole thing. And you know who does that? Either a guy that just like doesn't want to be with you for whatever reason, like that's the most simplest answer, but like going back and retracing the steps of how he acted with everything. He is a guy who got beat up in high school all the time, shoved in lockers, super traumatic. Watch this kid. I think that this kid's trauma, he's doing the same thing she is. He's smarter at it. He's whipping around.
Able to be more socially acceptable.
He's laying
with
low.
His trauma.
Yeah. She's got a nose ring and tattoos. He was keeping it bundled up in a little, what are those, mock neck sweater. And he had the best voice. I closed my eyes and listened to them. I could see why girls would fall for him. He had great voice and smooth.
Could not agree more. Alex was voice of the.
And he went for her, the trauma girl. There's a dozen other girls here, and you went on this girl and then dumped her at the last second after you blew up everyone's spot. And then you kind of blamed her for blowing up Mason's spot. Now, Madison did the same thing because she's a trauma girl and they blow up spots all the time. That's just part of the game. Yeah. So.
Well, we did it. We did the 6 episodes.
Oh, yeah. One more thing about what's her name? Meg. I'm glad that Meg, like I think women across America are applauding Meg for saying, hell no, I'm not going to be your number 2. But I think that Madison also psychologically ninja'd her to really not even know that she had a choice. Like she was like, well, this clown. I mean, I told him like he's lost both of us. And Meg goes, you said that? Oh my God, why did you say that? And she goes, well, I mean, I guess you could be with him still. I mean, that's what you do when you want to make someone feel about something and make them feel like, oh, but everyone's going to think you're a loser, you big number 2 loser, And then I maybe Meg would have done that anyways, but her reaction to that was like, wait, what'd you say? Like she was not, I don't think she was going, I think she was thinking like, well, this girl has another guy and like maybe it'll all work out, and I don't know, we'll see. And like it just some sort of plausible deniability that she was the number 2 still existed. And I feel like Madison blew up that spot for her too. So
it was shady boots behavior on Madison's part. However, I like what Meg did.
Totally.
So it was
I just want to know that Meg really wanted to do that. And you know what? Maybe she's so glad that somebody put that into her head or she would have made the wrong decision. But the shitty part is that I actually think that like how whatever Madison did, Madison ninja'd Mason too. Like,
yes.
and guys shouldn't be so easy to ninja. Like it shouldn't be like maybe it was all like, no, I just pushed along what you would have seen unfold later on, and it might have been too late by then. There's always that argument too. But these trauma kids, man, they're a tough bunch to exist around. You don't know, you gotta be bobbing and weaving. Yeah, because Meg and Mason were actually really well suited for each other. Both like super like alien people.
Oh God, their favorite
had the
movies.
Same movies.
Yeah,
she was a delight, and he seemed to be into it. He's a cinematographer, artsy guy. I think she would have been pumped to support him in a life. I think it would have been a good match. And it's just like kind of shitty to see how it all worked out because two trauma kids don't know how to just like be cool.
I actually was surprised that Mason didn't end up with anyone either.
Yeah.
Because there were so many people this season that had two relationships going and ended up with no one. It's that saying, a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush.
And yeah, it's not great, but also this is a dating show. Like they're all having to make choices between multiple people up until the last day. These are tough decisions. And I'm sure they're all trying to make the best ones for themselves, as they should. I don't know why we're shitting on that. Now, all of that said, when the dude would not just shut the up about seeing Mason's side during his last convo with Madison, yes, of course, it would be great if she could also see that Mason was just making the best decisions he could on the situation in front of him. I still have no idea why that guy would be so obsessed with stating how he understood Mason's dilemma when the girl he's picked, for this moment anyway, like felt gaslit by him. By Mason. And she was definitely gaslit by him. It was Leo all over again. Like, did you not watch last season?
Clearly.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Like and subscribe. We'll be back next week with more Love Is Hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
Not
1 week
bland.
from now, 3 more episodes. Mike, did I say everything that anyone could possibly say?
In 5 different ways. I think we got it.